GM Fox fam, thanks for joining us on the weekly governance call. This is our 47th weekly governance call for the ShapeShift DAO. If this is your first time joining us, we'll just go over house rules real quick. There's a ShapeShift DAO stage chat up at the top of the Discord that you can join in and type in questions as you have them throughout the call, and I'll address them as best as I can. There's also a Zoom link there. From that Zoom link, we'll have our slides where you can follow along with all of the slides for all of the presenters that are going to be presenting on the call today. We use this call to talk about everything inside the ShapeShift governance, currently up for vote or currently just passed, as well as grounds for discussion around things that are inside the ShapeShift forum, the place where ShapeShift DAO community members can post pre-proposal ideation drafts, as well as any sort of post to the community about statements around work streams, proposals for new features, lots of things. There's also an anonymous Ask Me Anything forum that is monitored by our CMod team. So if at any point you'd like to ask a question throughout the call today, but you'd like to do so anonymously, there's also a resource for you to do that as well. Got a little bit of a packed agenda today, so I'll ask the presenters to please be mindful of the other presenters that are also sharing the stage with you. And GK said he might be dancing. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Looking at our agenda, we're going to start with some appreciations or praise, where anyone's allowed to get up on stage to type in the stage chat, some appreciations for other community members, for other folks in the world, just a place for us to give thanks. It's a great community call for us to focus. Doing that at the beginning of our call, and it really kind of sets the stage for a good discussion. And then we'll go into our proposals and work our way through all the way from past proposals to brand new seeds inside the forum. If anyone's got appreciations, please feel free to jump up on stage, and we'll start it off. Hey,
I've popped up so that I can appreciate you, Tyler, for keeping these governance calls going, managing the operations team, and just being the beating heart of ShapeShift. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thanks, Mike. I wouldn't consider myself a beating heart. Just doing my best to DAO it like the rest of us. I appreciate you for all of your kind words of wisdom that you've been able to present to us in leadership, and for kind of the marching to the beat of your own drum with this Fox Chain work stream. There's a lot of cool kind of firsts that we're able to do and show that we don't all have to be cookie cutters versions of our own work streams, and you're doing a really cool thing with some great ideas there that's really kind of unparalleled to any of our other current work streams as well. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing there and the examples that you're setting, Mr. Perklin. I'm also going to poke at our Fox props too. We've got a channel that at any time people can give Fox props to other community members, and this is a great place for us to acknowledge those as well. And Mythic Fox made a prop today for the admins and Foxes that without us, it'd be a little rougher for him. So I'm going to click a heart on that too. Really appreciate that you found a home here, and that we've been able to make things a little bit easier for you, Mythic Fox. Fox, props to you for joining us. In the stage chat, we've got appreciations from PTT for H-Pain for all the late nights he pulls to do those governance newsletters, and all the great work in general. I know H-Pain, you're burning that midnight oil, not just for those newsletters, but going above and beyond for all of the PR work and the random things you guys are chasing down over there in MDG. Second appreciation from Max for myself. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Great appreciations. I also want to appreciate the respectful discourse that's going on right now in the forum. There's a bunch of kind of contentious items I'm sure we'll get into throughout the day on this call today, but throughout discussions that have been going on previously, and will probably continue in the forums. And I really appreciate the way in which we as a community have been able to handle deferring opinions and things like that in the manner we have. So pat yourself on the back. Big appreciation and praise to all of you guys for showing up and being respectful in that manner. Oh, I forgot to have my appreciations slide there the whole time. There was supposed to be this very cute dog passing the bones, so I'll let that roll one more time just so y'all can see those bones pass them. Make sure next time we pass the bones more appropriately. So we have some past proposals we'll get into real quickly. If these have passed, the best thing for here is getting updates on what do I do as a Fox next to find out more about this stuff. So the first one that we passed with Soft Quorum was the integration to staking rewards. So this is from One Screen Please. And staking rewards, this one's had a whole bunch of talks. I'm not exactly sure who's going to be the person carrying this going forward. I know there's some posts going in from marketing and growth, and they've been closest to the ground on this. So I would imagine that we'll have some updates coming in the following weeks or two as we continue to fulfill the obligations that were drawn out in this proposal, so we can be ready for this. So I would say the best way to catch up on this is by following up with marketing and growth. Next up, we have a past proposal of creating and maintaining the yieldies, and I've got Kent on stage with me. Jim, Kent.
Good afternoon, Tyler. How are you today?
Doing well. It's a little cloudy out, but I'll take the rain. We need it, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Moisture is always good, and things don't catch fire. Hopefully, the market catches fire in a good way soon. But yeah,
it's sneaking up a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's like you're getting like cautiously optimistic, but the thing I remember from the last cycle is every time this would happen, you just get your heart broken because then it gets slammed back down. But hopefully, it keeps trending higher. So yieldies this passed with Soft Quorum, and this actually puts everything into place on the governance side and sets the foundation for ShapeShift to curate and maintain these yieldy tokens. Again, these and I won't belabor this point because I've discussed it at length, but these yieldy tokens are a new financial primitive that builds on Foxy, that technology and smart contract code to allow for users to stake their, say, ETH or USDC and get a yieldy token that frictionlessly generates yield. So what happens next is kind of the big question. So in response to that question, I'm going to read verbatim from the proposal real quick here. Two interesting things. Who is responsible for the maintenance of yieldy strategies? Similar to the responsibilities outlined in Foxy, the TMDC will determine how to manage the strategies that generate revenue. However, the strategies themselves will be a matter of community governance. So the TMDC will, again, determine like sort of, how much to, like basically kind of fine tune the parameters on these strategies. But the strategies themselves, that's a higher level important thing. That will always be a matter of community governance. That begs the question, what revenue strategy will phase one employ of yieldies? Again, we're just going to borrow a page from the Foxy playbook and use tokamak reactors initially. Of course, DeFi landscape changes quickly, as does the market in general, and how many yield or the kind of yield that different platforms generate. So this will be probably a constantly changing thing. On the implementation side, yieldies are in the audit process. We've had audits back to some extent, and the code is being tweaked. So don't expect to see yieldies go live quite imminently here, but just know that the work is being done behind the scenes, and it will be very cool to have this launched because it's a unique thing that ShapeShift has here, and I'm super excited to see how the world at large views it.
I share your excitement, Kent, and I'm super happy to see that the community was able to get behind you and pass this. So thank you for blazing the trails that you did before this proposal so we get those audits in place. And I think we'll be anxiously awaiting future TDMC calls so we can get updates when we get closer to launch.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Kent. Have a good one. And I'll quickly just give an update there on the staking rewards as well. There's a post from Toasty saying that it's either going to be run by himself as a PM or perhaps someone else that stays on with the work stream if he's no longer here, and that it was quite a good sign that we were able to get this covered, not from their work stream, but approved by governance to come directly from the DAO. So sure there's many updates to be coming from marketing and growth as things are being settled in these next round of proposals, and that will be one of those we'll just tack on to getting follow-up around. Thanks, Toasty. We have another past proposal, and this one's from Diggy in the marketing work stream. I think she might still be out today, so I don't know if there's another product person that would like to come up and accept the unanimous award. I'll send one out to Grain Machine, but I'm happy to also just quickly say that the DAO voted 100% confidence of yes for the product and creative services workstream renewal. GM, Grain Machine.
GM, I feel like I was just up here recently kind of saying the exact same thing. I think we were at Softcore last time.
Yeah, it's soft quorum and everything passed now in full. It's legit now.
So I can officially say thank you to all that voted and showing a vote of confidence in the product group. We're lean and mean these days, so I'm kind of pulling double duty on the design and production services, and also kind of spreading over into doing some product stuff as well, actually on the Yieldies stuff. So I was actually just working on that spec. But bigger picture, we all appreciate the vote of confidence, and we are going to continue building great products and moving forward, getting out of this slump that we're in. Really, that's kind of the goal, I guess. If anybody has I doubt that there's any questions. I think this is like the 7th or 8th or 9th time we've been up here talking about the renewal of the work stream, so I won't take up too much more time. Thanks again for the vote of confidence, and we won't disappoint.
Do you guys have another roadmap meeting scheduled that people could follow up with kind of the direction of what you guys are doing?
Roadmap meeting? That's a good question. I mean, the roadmap is publicly available, but a governance meeting, like a public meeting, I guess I should say, that is a good question. I don't know about that.
I know we used to do kind of like monthly or bi-monthly check-ins about the roadmap where you guys would go a little bit into detail about why we were making the decisions we were.
Yeah. I think product office hours, that would probably be a good thing to kind of freshen up and just kind of make sure that we're all aligned on the current roadmap. So that's a good point to bring up.
Awesome.
And I don't know when the next office hours. I'm assuming it'd probably be next week because we didn't have one this week.
GK called me out for trying to get you to schedule a meeting. But yeah, we'll look forward to checking in on your guys' office hours, and I'll probably drop that question again if we don't get something in the calendar. But yeah, thank you all for all the hard work you guys do, and thanks for continuing the output on the more lean and aggressive kind of budget that you guys and team that you guys have now.
Yep, lean and mean. That's us. And that's it. I will hop off the stage and let you move on.
GM, Gray Machine. Oop, I shouldn't mute when I'm the only person up here. We also have one active proposal right now. GK, he said he was going to dance. I think we can spare him the dancing if he'd just like to chat about his proposal for a quick hot second. Are you available, GK, or are you without mic?
I'm without a mic. Sorry. Can't.
Oh, bummer.
This is recording?
No, it's just you and me here, buddy. Yeah, so looks like I might be grabbing the wrong numbers from Boardroom instead of Snapshot, so I'm not exactly sure if you guys are at hard quorum yet. There might be some extra votes coming there, but so far...
Hard is 4, but at the moment we're at, what's it called? Soft quorum, of course. But we still have 2-3 days? Sunday, I believe it's when it ends. Hey, somebody took the pictures of me when I was a kid.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like my numbers are a little under here for the boardroom snapshot, but looks like so far so good, and people are behind you and your tireless CMod crew with your band hammers and your random room. Thanks, Shadow. Thanks all the CMods there for all the things you guys do. And I look forward to having you dance on stage with me next week with a hopefully passed proposal.
Thought I was muted for that. Sounded like a donkey. Alright, talk to you later.
Thanks, GK. I'm not going to spend more than a second on this, but we're still doing our ideation in the forum. Soon it will be back in boardroom, although now that I'm hearing that boardroom is struggling with seeing all votes on chain, perhaps we'll have to go back to coming back ? All right, we've got a couple of new ideation posts. Oh, one new ideation post. We've got a whole bunch of things that are going to start coming from the forum now, though. So we can bring Kent back up if you want to chat about the tokenomics work stream that you just put up.
Yeah, so I did the year talking about analyzing our prior work, goals moving forward, and then budget. The notable budget thing here is the fact that I will be taking, if this passes, my whole salary in Fox in order to do my own part to extend our runway. As much as I talk about our runway and maintain this spreadsheet and do projections, I thought I should do my part for sure. So there'll be zero impact on USDC related to salary. It does stipulate that the workstream itself will receive $13K in June in order to, that would bring us up to $20K for the remainder of the year to work with. And that's really helpful for like ad hoc expenses. We've had a number of bounties over the past quarter around things like vetting potential partners and risk analysis type things. So it's always good to have a little powder dry for that. Anyway, give that a look and a vote if you're interested. And as always, let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Kent. And you just posted that today, right? We've got a couple of days through the weekend before we'll
that's a fresh
poll close. Okay.
Yeah, multiple days left on that one.
Cool. So this is our ideation phase, folks. We're definitely looking for sentiment inside that poll there of a yes or a no vote. So please go out. If you haven't given a yes or no vote in the forum, please go check it out and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Kent. We've got two ideation drafts, one from myself and one from Mr. Perklin. See if I can invite Mike on stage. Have him go first. GM, good to have you back.
Hello, glad to be here. Thanks for having me up here. I know that time is short, so I'm going to dive right in. This is something that has been talked about briefly for actually the last 6 months and is only really hitting the forum over the last couple of days. When ShapeShift US birthed the ShapeShift DAO, ShapeShift US did a lot of things to help get the DAO started, like giving a generous treasury and setting up a couple of processes and procedures for the very first few governance votes, deciding we will be using Snapshot, deciding we will be using Forum. One of these foundational decisions made by ShapeShift US was who will manage the ShapeShift treasury. ShapeShift US appointed a number of ShapeShift US employees to be the multi-sig signers for the ShapeShift DAO. And while it was great that they set up the DAO for success with these few employees to manage the treasury, nothing was said about, well, how should the DAO choose a new treasury signer? What happens if one of those treasury signers decides to step down or retire? Or, God forbid, what happens if one of these treasury signers passes away suddenly, and now the ShapeShift DAO needs to choose a new signer? We don't have, as a DAO, we don't have any kind of formal way of identifying who should be a signer. we don't have any way of revoking the privilege of being a signer from someone who may not be doing a good job, and they forget to double check a few things, and mistakes happen, and we lose money. So what this proposal is a formalized way for how the ShapeShift DAO should choose a new treasury signer. In my draft that I prepared, I had a couple of goals. Number one, I wanted to make sure that there was a small set of people who would be trusted with choosing the signers. Why small and why not big? The reason for that was these treasury signers, their identities should be kept private. If everyone in the world knows that Tyler is one of the treasury signers, every time Tyler shows his face at a crypto conference, every time he's walking alone on the sidewalk, somebody who knows that he is in control of millions of dollars could walk up behind him with a wrench and decide to take it for themselves. So we want the treasury signers' identities to be as private as possible. And that is always easier to do when there is a small group of people who knows who they are, rather than publicizing it for the world. So a small group of people and these small group of people need to have the DAO's best interest in heart. The quickest list that I could think of were the people who were already voted in by governance for other reasons, the workstream leaders. So if you haven't read the draft proposal that I've put up, I encourage you to read it. Basically, it outlines that the workstream leaders, the definition of which I understand is being debated in yet another forum post, but the workstream leaders will collectively choose who should be a new signer and how many signers we should have. Should there be 3? Should there be 5? Do we need 4? When someone new is going to be a treasury signer, how long should their term be and what should their comp be? Should they make $5 billion for doing it for 1 month? Or maybe they should make a more manageable salary of this much per year. One final thing I'll say about this proposal before I open up to questions and then jump down for the next agenda item is there's one thing that may seem strange at first for anyone reading the proposal for the Treasury Signer Selection Committee, and that is that for the salary of one of these Treasury signers, let's say they're going to be doing the job for a year, I have recommended that their yearly salary, let's say they're going to get $1,000 in 1 year, that yearly salary should extend beyond the 1 year. Why did I do that? If they're working for 1 year and they're going to get $1,000 for working that 1 year, I suggested that in that first year they get only $500. They get half. And then for a following year, after their term has ended and they've stopped working, the remainder of their pay would be streamed to them for 1 additional year. And the reason for that is business continuity. As one treasury signer steps down and another treasury signer steps up, there's a lot of institutional knowledge that needs to be passed from one to the other. There are lots of little tools that the treasury signers would use to unpack a transaction, identify which function call is being used, identify which smart contract, and all these little things need to be double-checked, triple-checked before any money is moved. So by making the treasury signer salary last longer than their term, it incentivizes them to remain involved with the DAO and to stick around because they're still getting half of their pay for the work they did last year. So that's the reason for that. That was probably a lot too much to unpack before asking for questions in between, but I was trying to be respectful for time. Who's got questions and when should I step down?
Thank you. I think that was perfectly concise, Mike. That was great. There is a statement from PTT that he says that holding off until the workstream leader proposal is finished might be something you might want to consider because he would hate to see a signer get voted out or
I like that
no
idea.
longer be applicable there. There was a question about the current comp for signers, which I believe the answer is 0 right now, which you guys are doing it out of the goodness of your hearts and belief in the
That's
DAO.
right. At the moment, all of the Treasury signers are doing it without any comp at all. If we are to attract new people to become Treasury signers tomorrow and replace some of the signers that are retiring, we got to attract them somehow. We got to show them some kind of financial incentive to do this. And for context, a number of the existing Treasury signers have already submitted their intent to resign. And this is one of the reasons why these proposals are starting to be debated with the DAO now. These signers who have signaled their retirement, they made sure to let everyone know that they're not leaving immediately, and they intend to do a very clean, very thorough handoff of all their skills to the next Treasury signer that steps into their shoes. But this is why we're discussing it now. And with the draft that I put up, I threw out a number, a static number of 2 million Fox tokens for 1 year term. I don't think that's fair, but in the wise words of someone else, the fastest way to get the right answer on the internet is to post the wrong answer to a forum. And that's what I did. I don't think it should be a static Fox number. I think it should actually be expressed in a dollar amount. For example, the salary should be $140,000 US per year, set up in a Sablier stream using the price of Fox at the time that they start their term, or something like that.
Catching up on all of the comments here in the stage chat as well. Are there any public DAO examples of signing compensation that we could point to for this, or is this something that we will be trailblazing as a first?
I'm not aware of any, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any. What I do know is that the specific comp should not be decided by one person or even the person who wrote this initial draft. I'd encourage anyone who has an opinion on how much a Treasury signer should make to please chime in on the forum and or in the governance chat right here on our Discord, and hopefully we can find a value that is fair to the ShapeShift DAO and to the new signers.
There's another question here about what the approximate hourly workload per week is estimated for what you do as a current signer.
Great question. In the proposal, there were some statistics that can quantify it. It all really depends on what all the workstream leaders are doing and what the rest of the DAO is doing. The more money that needs to come out of Treasury, the more transactions that the Treasury signers would need to sign. Based on the historical data we can see from the 0x90 address, the ShapeShift DAO Ethereum multisig, in the month of May, there was 350 transactions. As of today, it looks like there's 520 transactions approximately, and it's been about 1 year. Hey, we're coming up on the 1 year birthday of the ShapeShift DAO. Interesting. So 520 transactions in 1 year, that should quantify it. But what I can see in the dates is that it's not a steady amount. Like every day you sign 1.5 transactions. There may be a burst of 8 or 10 transactions and then nothing for 2 or 3 days. Then another burst of a large amount of transactions. Repeat transactions are a lot easier to verify. For example, once a week, the ShapeShift DAO tops up the tokamak rewards. The very first time that was done, that takes a lot of effort to make sure that this is the correct tokamak contract, and to understand exactly which function call to execute, which parameters should go there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as the Treasury signers began bookmarking these contracts, bookmarking the functions, and getting familiar with what these transactions look like to that one, now each week those become a lot more easy to validate because they've done it before. So back to the original question that Defecave asked, maybe 10 to 20 hours a week on the upside, 0 to 5 hours on the low side.
I think that's a great quantification of that. It sounds like we as a community in DAO have a little bit more to discuss with you here about some of the specifics of this in terms of getting this comp right and the right folks and things like that. But thank you for getting it into its place.
Awesome. We'll continue that in the forum and in the Discord.
Sounds great. That I was just about to ask. So yeah, we'll direct all of our future conversations there in the forum for now. Thanks, Carson.
Awesome. I'm going to jump down, but one last thought, Professor McCarthy. I would encourage against, or I guess I would discourage any kind of internal wiki for transaction signers. Each signer needs to act independently and cannot rely on information given from another signer, lest both of them be swindled by the same attack. All right, jumping down. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on next, I also have a to be determined proposal that just got posted. It's in its first form now, it's a draft, not an ideation phase yet, and it's titled Sunsetting the Support Workstream. It's a pretty lengthy post. There's already some good dialogue going on right here, or in the forum about it. It kind of outlines a potential for the DAO to save some money by trimming down a little bit and moving over all of the responsibilities of customer support, tickets, help desk management, engagement with our users, things like that, into the operations work stream. There's a lot of work that myself and some of the operations assistants have put together around competitive analysis on other comparative services and DAOs out there, as well as some analysis on ticket flow of our current service offerings, budgets, and potential future strategies and game plans for us to be able to handle those responsibilities. Looks like there's not any questions about it. I talked a little bit about this in the operations office hour earlier, and I'm sure that there's probably some still healthy discussion to be had in the forum, so I don't really want to get too much deeper into it than what the active discussion in the forum is at this point. Looks like everyone in the stage chat is talking about the 1-year birthday for ShapeShift. Did we already pass it? No, we're getting on it. Looks like we got another week. Next week will be our birthday, so maybe we'll have to do some plans and everyone will have to order some cake. Gonna move on to the rest of this. We're getting close to running the other half of our time, running out of that. So we got old ideation drafts. I've got DeFi Cafe, Marley, and Toasty. Feel free to hop on up here, guys. GM?
Hey, GM. I thought I would kick this off. I'm up here once again trying to fire myself in a proposal. So a lot of questions, comments came in last week about our proposal to consolidate the marketing, growth, and globalization workstream. We took everybody's feedback. We had an AMA at the beginning of this week, and Lindsay Hunt and myself just reworked the proposal, and I just went live with it probably as this meeting was started. So I will post an updated link. Essentially, what we're proposing in this one is very similar to the last one, except this will have the removal of the LATAM and globalization, they will have to do a proposal themselves to become a work stream and follow that process as requested by the community. We have a caveat in here that we'll cover if that proposal does not pass the following month. We'll cover 1 month's worth of budget. And other than that, I think Lindsay would step in as interim workstream leader is the only other change. Some of the budget items might have decreased ever so slightly. But yeah, feel free for everybody to go read it, add some more comments and feedback, but this was kind of the overall proposal and the direction we wanted to see people take in the last feedback, and hopefully we can go to ideation sooner than later and have all these changes go through, if passed, as soon as August 1st.
Awesome, Toasty. Thanks so much for being so nimble with the community's questions and requests. You guys have done a really great job of answering them and then kind of reshaping these things to get them passed in the proper way the community would like to see. So super appreciate your flexibility and the constant work I'm sure you're pouring in here to make sure that you're keeping everything afloat and getting these proposals worded correctly.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate the thanks. And yeah, everybody go add comments, questions that you may have, but we're trying to go to ideation sooner than later because we did take most of the feedback and 90% of it was received and edited, and so the ideation should be a pretty smooth process.
Awesome, thanks. Look forward to reading the updated version of that.
Thanks, everybody.
Do we have DeFi out there in the audience? Send an invite. Oh, there we go. GM, sir.
Scrambling for a mute button and a come on stage button. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Yeah, so we got the proposal up in the discussion phase on the forum. Been quite heated debate there. There is majority support for it in the community. Do plan to move this to ideation today, where I think that there'll be kind of further minor refinements to it. The main comment I'd make is I'd encourage people that to basically John's comment on it. It's easy to criticize a proposal and disagree with it. It's more difficult to propose an alternative. Alternative wordings that can be evaluated on their merits and incorporated would be encouraged over kind of ideological differences on what the definition is. So that's I guess what I'd like to see in the ideation phase, which I hope to move to today. But yeah, that's about it. But I do think this is a very important proposal that should have been clarified across the board. I'd also like to add that other DAOs are operating under the very similar definitions. MakerDAO, for example, has a very robust governance process and detailed. They have definitions of budgets. They call work streams core units instead. They call work stream leaders facilitators. Facilitator in MakerDAO has, for example, administration over a budget. They've got a very clear definition of what budget variances are and what's required if a budget goes over. Very detailed kind of breakdowns. And similarly, Sushi had a period where they ran as a very flat org structure and reverted back to a workstream leader equivalent type thing. And from the engineering workstream leader, the comment to the effect was that the previous year was a circus. I'd encourage people to read, what larger, more established, and arguably more successful DAOs have adopted and what works and why, and actual historical context around the kind of political and human elements of this, and kind of digest how they got to that state and why DAOs have sort of converged on this structure. In response, kind of like the centralization concerns. MakerDAO tried this recently to instill a board of directors C-level type stuff, and that was shut down very strongly. That's not what we're proposing here, or it's not even remotely up for discussion. This is just a formalization of a definition that the majority of people have been operating under for nearly a year now. So that's pretty much kind of what I wanted to say about the proposal or the draft, and you can expect to see it in ideation shortly.
Thanks, DeFi. Doesn't look like there are any questions in the stage chat, but it looks like most of them have been directed at you specifically on the forum that you've done your best to answer.
Yep. I think John actually did a very good job of summarizing like a lot of the points there.
I agree. I look forward to seeing you move this on to ideation and take it to the next phase.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm going to jump down.
Thank you. It doesn't look like we have Marley with us too, and this is an old ideation post that's been kicking around for a while, but it got some updates to get a little bit closer on the estimation of how we should be comping these bounties for IBC integrations. I know that Marley was pausing to move this further anymore until he had gotten some feedback from engineering, and it looks like he got a pretty good estimate here. So I hope that maybe in the coming weeks we can see this one get renewed again and move over into the proposal in Snapshot so we can get some votes on it as well and get some more revenue streams going for us. We got 2 old posts. Not sure if there's any more updates to be said on these. If the authors have anything they'd like to hop up here and chat about, we can. These are just the posts that were the new posts last week that get bumped on down to previous weeks. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, those are pretty clear, straightforward posts. I do want to say before we wrap up, looks like we're going to wrap up a little bit earlier, that we do have a great DJ service that's around on Fridays during No Meeting Fridays that's usually bumping pretty hard. DJ Evil's been here pretty early on too. I don't know if he was here at the birth and is celebrating 1 year with us, but he's been spinning tunes for a while, and he'll be spinning tunes tomorrow from, what is it, 1 MST? Yeah, 1 to 3 MST. So if you're around and looking for some good tunes, check out the DJs. And they're here weekly, bi-weekly, a whole bunch of different rooms going on, different sounds. So check out the DJs. Leave the space open for Q&A. Doesn't look like many people are typing about it specifically, but if anyone has any last minute questions they'd like to present, they can throw them out here. And if not, we'll bring Lo-Fi back up and we'll call it. All right, here's Lo-Fi Girl. Make it a good jam.